it's a huge danger. It's a huge danger. It's a huge issue. It's not a new issue. I mean, there's I think a little bit of maybe there's a little bit of ahistorical, like, attention paid to fake news, because it's become the claim of fake news has itself become a media event, right? And I think that actually maybe takes away a little bit from a historical appreciation of the problem, because you go back to the Spanish American War and you find fake news, right? You go back to, ancient Greece, you find fake news, right? So there's, many examples of this. I think, what is new, what has changed, of course, is the technology. But also, I think, as you said, the role of governments in this, and particularly not just governments in general, but specifically the intelligence and security apparatuses of governments, right? Is that they spend millions of dollars. They hire people specifically trained in information security to help spread fake news. So that's a relatively new phenomenon, at least to the extent that it's going on. And maybe there's analogies to things that ancient Rome did or something like that, but this is very new. The capability to use a combination of like newspapers and Facebook and Twitter and all of these things, and have like practically armies of people spreading information, and repeating information that they know is fake, right? That they know they either made it up or they knew it was wrong, but they're spreading it because they get some advantage from spreading this fake information. That's a relatively new problem, and I do think it's crippling. I think it's actually been I think we're seeing the effects in a lot of things today. I think maybe COVID's an example, but certainly the conspiracy theories and political cults and things, those things have existed in the US for many years, but they've never been this popular. There are millions of, there's probably several million people around the world, maybe more, maybe tens of millions of people around the world who believe that Hillary Clinton is some kind of like running some kind of satanic pedophile ring and so forth. And these are very bizarre stories, but they have a certain resonance, and they have a historical resonance, right? I mean, this is the same thing the Romans said about the Jews, back in back in 70 AD or whatever it was, when they destroyed the temple. And even before that, right? In ancient Greece, they were saying similar things. It's a very convenient way to demonize your enemy, right? Is to spread lies about them, and specifically really horrific lies about the things that they might be doing, that they're eating the blood of Christian babies or whatever it is, right? I mean, that's a very good way to make an enemy and then get everybody to get angry at that enemy. So I think it plays a very old, the role that fake news plays is very old, but the technology for doing it and the effort put into it is very new. Like on some level, everybody is, right? I mean, there's nobody is immune to fake news, right? Nobody is immune to false information, especially if it appeals at a certain level. Like I'm vigilant about fake news. Like and you see me on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook, and when I read a news story that gets me upset, I post it, and so forth. And even though I get, I'm like, make sure you read the story first, make sure you double check it, Google it, whatever. I've forwarded things that I found out later were fake too, right? I mean, I'm as vulnerable as anyone else to it. It's especially if it confirms something you already believe.
Mhm.
Right. So when I did not like Mr. Trump, right? So when I saw something that said, Trump did X, Y, and Z, I get angry and I spread it. And then I go find out, oh, that story's wrong. Well, I spread it because it confirmed what I already believed. So if I already had negative feelings about Trump and I see a negative story about Trump, I share the story and I feel indignant, I feel justified, right? And so that confirms my own worldview. And then it's very embarrassing to find out, oh, well, that wasn't actually true. And I feel like the same thing was happening, on the other side. I mean, I feel like everybody believes their own worldview is correct, right? And everyone else is wrong, you know? So I tend to believe that the other side is more vulnerable than I am to fake news, but that may be an illusion, right? That may be, you know, I don't want to be too, arrogant about my own, critical thinking skills. So on one level, the answer to your question is everybody is vulnerable, right?
Mhm.
But I do think that there is a particularly acute problem for people that have not in any way like taken any critical thinking classes or done any done anything to kind of understand what it means to think critically about mass media.
Mhm.
Right? We live in an age where media keep changing quicker and quicker. And so it's very difficult to develop media literacy because by the time you understand the implications of one media, the next one is there. Right. And so this, Marshall McLuhan talked about the rear view mirror theory of media, where he said, we're always looking at the media, the previous media. So we're judging, he's writing in the 60s about television. He says, we're judging television based on a print, based on the model of print. But we're in the television age now. We have to judge television on its own terms, right? Well, now maybe we're looking at the internet based on the model of television, or maybe even worse, we're looking at even individual like social media. Like we're thinking about TikTok from the model of Facebook, and TikTok is different from Facebook. I think societies have to actually encourage critical thinking skills and civic responsibility. And I think, earlier you're talking about the fall of democracy. I mean, I think it's a big issue. The ancient Greeks, when they talked about democracy, this was a fundamental aspect of democratic thinking. Is that you have the skills, to understand an argument and to refute an argument, to speak in public, etc. And those skills, I think we've really devalued those skills, and I think that's so integral
Mhm.
to a real democracy, is we need to encourage those things.